Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our honor and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles, and the bishops, the great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect, starting with the 144,000 governing body of the nation of Yahshua Allah, and the men, the women, the children, the true believers in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. May he have mercy on you in these last days. This is brother I'm not with Allah, coming back at you with another lesson, and Lord willing, it'll be edifying. I want to go into these wildfires and the spiritual significance around why this is happening to the people of Spokane, Washington. Okay? So I'm gonna let these two videos play. Then I got some history on Chat GPT. Then we got the scriptures. That'll be the lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying.
A few blocks from where we were yesterday morning, and you saw all of the devastation. Here's what's interesting. To your point, one side of the street is still at a level 3, and behind me, we actually have the Washington National Guard as well as the Spokane police. They're still blocking off these roads. They say it's just too dangerous. So what you see next to the flashing lights, that side of the street is still under a level 3 evacuation order, so they still have not come home. The other side of the street, just 30-40 feet away, they have been downgraded to a level 2, meaning they can come home and they can check things out, but they have to be ready to go just in case things change. One of the reasons they're saying it's just too dangerous is because some of the flare-ups. Some of the video, I'll show you the video that we shot yesterday, just in the neighborhood where we were live yesterday. I walked around the neighborhood and it was just sad. You look at every single home on both sides of the street completely gone, and then the neighbors on the backside were okay. I went a little farther into the neighborhood, and the entire neighborhood behind the street that we were on also leveled. So they were concerned about perhaps maybe even some water leaks. Yesterday, they were turning off some of the water. They did mention perhaps the possibility of gas leaks. I do know that they were trying to get those off first thing once these fires came through here, because that's one thing you don't want to have happen. We continue to watch today. We're trying to get back to the fires this morning, or at least to the neighborhood. But again, they are keeping us back. This after we got that breaking news that came in on Monday that we told you about 37-year-old Aaron Farinacci, who was arrested on first-degree arson. We talked to a couple of residents yesterday as we were kind of standing by. Here's what one man had to say about the whole situation.
Heart-wrenching. You think about these people that have been in their homes for 20 to 30 years, I'd fall down to the ground in remorse. You know, my heart goes out to every one of them. I've talked to a few here. Can you imagine when they get in their street and their house is leveled? I can't even imagine.
Yeah, he just lived a couple of blocks away from where we were yesterday as well, living in the neighborhood for about 15, 20 years. His wife was actually a firefighter, retired, so they were watching the flames closely. Back to Farinacci, who was in court yesterday. He will appear again tomorrow in court at 3 p.m. When he first appeared in court, the judge, first thing he did was read his rights to him. Farinacci said he understood. The prosecution asking to keep the $1 million bail, that was granted, and to also keep Farinacci in Spokane County. If he were to post bail, they're asking that he not contact any of the victims or anyone that's been listed in the affidavit. They did say, the court documents do say, that he was found with a butane lighter and a rain-ready, heavy-duty, waterproof matches inside of the fanny pack. So a lot to come out of that investigation as well. But so many people out here, we talked about this yesterday, emotions are all over the place. You've got heartbreak. You've got people who feel guilt because their homes are still standing. Their neighbors are no longer there. And then also anger once they found out that maybe this is human caused and the person who did it does have priors in the state of Arizona. By the way, we'll bring some more information to you on that in just a moment. But here, we're just waiting to see. Some people will start to come back today. Yesterday, when I was at the hotel, Merce and Steven, I did see people coming back into our hotel.
Let's go to the next video, because I wanted you to hear about how people's homes have been totally wiped out. Okay, people's lives have totally been ruined now, right?
Stop killing your eyes watching movies or playing games on that tiny phone screen. Open this app and turn your phone into a one.
Meantime, crews in Spokane are shifting from emergency response to long-term recovery after devastating wildfires in the area. Meantime, community leaders are organizing a one-stop assistance center to help displaced people find the resources they need. Alex McClune.
And this is spiritual, because it says now these people are displaced. So now listen to what she's saying. Then I'm going to read the historical facts about this area. Okay.
Reports.
First responders are cracking down at neighborhood checkpoints, now checking IDs for proof of address. People who get by walk 15 minutes to reach the start of one of the hardest hit parts of Spokane. What's the state of your home?
My home is intact. It was a hallelujah to see it.
Debbie Hill and her daughter carried back suitcases to drive to their hotel. I heard things were heavy. Did you grab everything you could?
Yes, I guess. I'm just coming back in 2 days no matter what.
As firefighters from as far as Los Angeles work around the clock, Spokane community leaders are coming together. The city and its school district are pulling together resources for those who lost everything. This Spokane high school has set up the Disaster Assistance Center, one roof where you can find emergency services and nonprofits.
Is when we go through hard times, we come together as a community.
Hundreds of community organizations pack the school's auditorium to help start the one-stop shop, a place fire survivors can find clothes, childcare, access to housing, replace important documents, and access financial and insurance assistance.
It's a great idea.
Ready to help those scrambling to put their lives back together.
It's tough to keep a household intact when you are also trying to keep your kids and pets from bickering and fighting and being cooped up with some cabin fevers.
Alex McClune reporting the center is intended to remain open as long as the community demand requires.
See, they're going through a recompense, if you would say, because they're the forefathers of the Edomites that came into their land. Now listen to this. I asked, who originally lived in Spokane, Washington, before it was settled? Before European and Mesoamerican settlement, Edomites, the so-called white man, the area that is now Spokane, Washington, was the homeland of the Spokane tribe of Indians, Native Americans, Gad, the tribe of Gadites, okay? A member of the nation of Yasha Allah. Those are our brothers and sisters, those that are on those reservations, right? It says they had lived along the Spokane River for thousands of years, relying on fishing, especially salmon, hunting, and gathering roots and berries. The Spokane Falls was an important place for trade, ceremonies, and seasonal gatherings with neighboring tribes. Other nearby indigenous people also used or lived in parts of the region, including the Cordaline tribe and Kespeline tribe of the Indians, and other interior Salish people or Native Americans. The permanent non-indigenous settlement in the area was a fur trading post called Spokane House, established in 1810 by the Northwest Company. So then I asked, when was it taken over? The takeover of the Spokane's people's homeland happened gradually rather than a single day. Before the 1800s, the Spokane tribe had lived in the region for thousands of years. European fur traders established Spokane House, marking the beginning of sustained non-indigenous presence. Washington Territory was created, and increasing numbers of settlers began moving into the area. The Spokane Cordaline War took place after U.S. military forces defeated a coalition of native tribes. U.S. control over the region became much stronger. The city of Spokane, 1873, was founded by settlers near Spokane Falls. You see how that doesn't make sense? You don't find and settle something that was already inhabited. That's why the Lord said, you don't go building on another man's house, right? It says, or his area, if you would say. It says Spokane in 1881, Spokane was officially incorporated as a city. The Spokane tribe was confined to the Spokane Indian Reservation. So what does that mean? They were displaced, just like these Edomites are being displaced now, right? Right. It says the Spokane tribe was confined to the Spokane Indian Reservation, which was much smaller than the traditional homeland. So it says, so I asked, what forceful methods did the settlers use to eliminate the tribes? Where did they go? The elimination and displacement of many Native American tribes, including in the Pacific Northwest. Notice it said displacement again, just like these people are being displaced. It says including in the Northwest, including in the Pacific Northwest, occurred through a combination of military force, disease, government policy, and settler expansion rather than a single method. The devil, right? That's the devil. That's the so-called white man. It says some of the major methods included not peace, no peace. It says military campaigns. The U.S. Army fought wars against the tribes that resisted the loss of their land because they went in and did what? They took the land. It says in the Spokane region. In 1858, the Spokane Coeur d'Alene War ended with the defeat of the Native Americans because they had what? Esau's blessings, guns, Gatling guns, weapons that were a little bit more advanced than the bow and arrow. What else did they do? Forced removal. That's called the Trail of Tears. Many tribes were compelled. Go look what does the word compelled mean? Let's look that up real quick. As a matter of fact, because we're gonna go into the scriptures anyway. Compelled is a past tense or past participle of the verb compelled, meaning to force, drive, or urge someone to do something through strong pressure, need, or a deep inner feeling. That's all we need with that. It says forced removal. Many tribes were compelled to leave their ancestral lands and move to reservations, often under difficult conditions. So they disregarded a nation of people and moved them off their land. What is that called? Covetous. That's what that's called. It says treaties and land seizures. Some treaties were signed under pressure or were later violated because the so-called white man don't keep no treaties. That's why the Lord said, what? Let's get that real quick. I got to get to this precept. No, don't sign no treaties with these fucking devils, man. Because they're going to break it. All right? There's so much history on our people giving these people a fair chance, and it never works out. Sirach 12:10, never trust thine enemies, For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humbled himself, sure they came humble, but their whole intent was to remove all the Native Americans across the United States onto reservations and take the land, right? And then settle there and name it a land after themselves, or just name the land after the people they conquered, which is fucking wicked, right? It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. You can't trust the so-called white man. All right. It says, let me finish reading this and I get the rest of the precepts. It says, treaties and land seizures. Some treaties were signed under pressure or were later violated, resulted in tribes losing millions of acres of land. Didn't you hear the woman say, I don't know if you caught it, but millions of acres of land have been burnt up? Recompense. Destruction of food sources. See? Same playbook. That's what this devil is doing right now with the food. It says in some regions, the U.S. military and settlers destroyed crops. So the U.S. military were Edomites and the settlers were Edomites, working together in hatred towards the Lord's people, right? It says in some regions, the U.S. military and settlers destroyed crops, villages, and food supplies. On the Great Plains, near extermination of buffalo herds, devastated the livelihoods of many tribes. What else? Disease, smallpox, measles, influenza, and other diseases introduced by Europeans caused catastrophic population losses because the native communities had no prior immunity. Disease killed far more people than warfare. See? So that's murder. So now we got covetous, we got theft, and now we got murder, right? From a nation of people against another nation of people that didn't do shit to them, right? Boarding schools. Native children were often taken from their families and placed in government or church-run boarding schools where they were forbidden from speaking their languages or practicing their cultures. This was intended to assimilate them into a Euro-American society, which is coming back in a major way, right? When they introduced the MOTB, this is the reason why the so-called white man has to be taken out. It says these actions had devastating effects on native populations, their cultures, and their traditional ways of life. While the specific experience varied by tribe and region, the cumulative result was the widespread loss of land, autonomy, and population across North America. See? So now we finna see why this is happening to them. First, let me get this scripture right here. Malachi 3:6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Right? So the Lord don't change. If you destroy a land of people, you bring bloodshed to it, judgment has to happen for that. Leviticus 24. This is Leviticus 24:17. And he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death. And he that killeth a beast shall make good beast for beast. And if a man cause a blemish in his neighbor, and he have done, it shall be done to him. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, as it has caused a man cause a blemish in a man, so shall it be done to him again. What does that mean? The Lord he's about righteous judgment. He's about a balanced judgment. So they're not getting away with this. And this is where I go back to this right here. This is Numbers chapter 35 and 33 in the NIV. Do not pollute the land where ye are. And in this case, this was the area that's on fire right now, where it was Native Americans living there, and for all intents and purposes, more than likely they wasn't serving Yahweh Bashim and Shah in truth and sincerity. So there's the double-edged sword right there. The Lord did bring judgment on them, but we got to now look at how the Lord pays you back still. He is so balanced. This is why you should fear him. It says, do not pollute the land where ye are. Bloodshed. We know a lot of bloodshed was spread upon all those areas where you now see it's on fire. It says, blood pollutes the land, and an atonement cannot be made for the land on which blood has been shed, meaning you can't make a sacrifice for all those atrocities, for displacement of a nation of people, removing them off their landmark, right? It says, except by the blood of the one who shed it. That's what you're seeing. You're not seeing the death yet, but you're seeing a loss of the wealth. You're starting to see the curses. You're starting to see the uncertainty. Now they're displaced, and it's only going to get worse for those people. It's only going to get worse. The Lord ain't finna let his foot off them, all right? Because they're the forefathers of those settlers that took that land. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. They hate us, and you can see the hatred. They went out their way to do what? Military campaigns, forced removals, fake treaties, destruction of the food, disease, which is chemical warfare. And then after they do all that murdering, the ones that's left, put them in boarding schools and strip them of their heritage. So they think they're fucking Americans, right? So that's what the Lord about to do to them, though, in a much, much harsher way. Because it's finna come to a point, it's not going to be an Edomite kingdom. It's just going to be Edomites serving the same people that they put into captivity, right? And they finna be removed off their land. As a matter of fact, let me get this prophecy real quick. This is Amos chapter 9 and verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it in the days of old. And that's being done right now in the spirit. It says that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen, which are called by my name, saith the Lord that does this. And the remnant of Edom is going to be their land over there in Basra, over there in the southern part of Israel, right? When it's all said and done, we're going to permanently remove them out of their land, right? And this land is going to be what? Destroyed. It's not going to be, that fire represents what's coming here, okay, from sea to shiny sea. Let me get this. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Right. He's not a keeper at home. They had plenty of land over in the Eastern Asia or Western Asia, who the world calls Europe, but that's Asia, right? They had land, but he's a covetous. He's a proud man who enlarges his desire as hell and as his death, meaning he increases through what? When you go look up the word hell, right? It's not burning underground with some motherfucking man with a pitchfork. Grave, hell pit, right? That's all it means. The grave, because he increaseth through great robbery and murder, right? It says, who enlarger his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. That's why they took over Venezuela. That's why they took over Palestine, right? And they took over Libya, Iraq. And wherever this man goes, death and hell follows him. And he does it through what? War, disease, and breaking treaties, right? It says, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This is the white man. This is the same person that's being afflicted right now because of the transgression of his forefathers. And that's why all them damn Edomites is losing all their beautiful land, is getting burnt up, and it ain't going to be rebuilt. And notice the first thing the devil thinks of when shit get tore up, they'll tell you, we will rebuild. Nope. It's not going to be enough time. It says, shall not all these take up of a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Woe means destruction. That's what you see right now, destruction. Increase it to what's not his. The whole United States of America doesn't belong to the so-called white man. He took it through violence, by being a coveter, by passing laws, right? By pushing the wine that makes everybody drunk, by witchcraft and sorcery. It says, to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, going into his debt, right? Shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be booties unto them? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, and all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Recompense, payback, because of man's blood, and for the violence of the land, and for the city and all that dwell therein. Because of the violence, payback is coming. How? Well, we're seeing it in real time. Isaiah 29:6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and a great noise with storm. We seeing storms, you seeing earthquakes all over the earth. But we're talking about this last one, and tempest and the flame of a devouring fire. That's how you know it's from the Lord. I don't care if he made some man, put the spirit on some man to light that fire. They could say that all they want, but it's still man's going to the Lord. The Lord did it. It's a way to bring back the recompense of all that was done to the Native Americans. And this is how we know we're at the end, right? Psalms chapter 37, verse 20. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs, and they shall consume into smoke. Salaki, and they shall consume into smoke. They shall consume away. What is that word consume going into? To accomplish, to cease, consume, determine, end, fall, finish, to be complete, to be accomplished, to be ended. How you say it in the Hebrew?
Strong's H3615. Kala.
It says to be spent up, used up, wasted away. Whoa. Let's do this real quick. Esau, it says Harry. I was trying to look because it also means his name also means wasted away. So, but that's okay. At the point is vanish, perish, be destroyed. Who's the wicked? Who are we talking about here? Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. That's how he was able to come over and do what he did, because the earth was given to him. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Another way to cover the faces of the judges is to remove a people off their land, right? And to destroy them. And then act as though you've always been there by saying you settled the land. But you know how it was done, through violence, through murder, through warfare, right? So you know how this devil get down. That's why the Lord wrote this. Malachi 1:4. It says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. See, these fires and these catastrophic events with these tornadoes that's ripping through whole towns and ruining their shit. This is their mindset of the wicked, because they believe Babylon will be here. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. So they ain't going to be able to rebuild here. And it's going to be consumed, just like Psalms 37 just said, right? So that fire, let me go back to the video. That fire
Organizers say the goal
that you see right there that's burning up all that, that's going to be all of America, all right? For how? Through thermonuclear missiles, okay? We know this. The scriptures don't lie. But what we're seeing is the Lord bringing judgment in certain pockets of this country that had Native Americans' blood on the soil and so-called Negroes, so-called Negroes, you so-called African Americans or whatever, you too. So wherever you see a storm and just a tremendous amount of destruction, where you can see the shit ain't gonna get built no time soon, but you can have that positive outlook. The Lord did it, because this land is full of the blood of the Israelites, and there is nothing you can do about it. So Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem HaKodash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles, the bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom.